In 1872, Comal County, Texas, was navigating the aftermath of the Civil War and Reconstruction, transitioning back to civilian governance and economic stability. Below is a focused summary of events and conditions in the region that year, based on available historical trends and documented developments. Context of Comal County in 1872. 1. Post-Reconstruction reintegration, 1870 to mark the end of federal military occupation in Texas. While the state was formally readmitted to the Union in 1870, the effects of Reconstruction were still felt in local politics. In Comal County, heavily German in population and with strong anti-slavery Unionist leanings, this meant continued local tension with Anglo-Texan Confederate sympathizers. However, compared to other counties, Comal was more stable. 2. Return of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party regained control of Texas politics in 1872, pushing back radical Republican policies. This shift affected judicial appointments and local governance in counties like Comal. Many Germans in Comal had supported Republicans due to their anti-slavery views, so the return of Democratic dominance led to some political realignment or disaffection in the local German-American community. Infrastructure and growth. 3. Railroad expansion nearby. 1872 was the year the Galveston, Harrisburg, and San Antonio Railway reached San Antonio. Though it did not yet pass directly through Comal County, its development spurred regional commerce and indirectly stimulated interest in bringing the rail line through New Braunfels, which would happen later by 1880s. Businesses in Comal County were already anticipating increased trade opportunities and began expanding freight routes and milling operations in response. Economy and culture. 4. Recovery of agriculture and trade. Farmers were shifting from subsistence crops to commercial agriculture, including cotton, corn, and livestock. The Guadalupe River and Comal Springs remained vital for grist mills and water-powered industry, especially in New Braunfels. Many German immigrant families were rebuilding their economic footing after disruptions during the Civil War. 5. Education and press. German-language newspapers such as the Neue Braunpfälzer Zeitung, founded earlier in 1852, continued to play a major role in public life. Lutheran and Catholic schools maintained instruction, emphasizing bilingual education, a rarity in Texas at the time. Social and religious life. 6. Church expansion. The Catholic, Lutheran, and Methodist congregations continued to grow, reflecting both older settlers and new arrivals. In 1872, churches in New Braunfels were central to both religious life and community events, including musical performances, town halls, and German cultural festivals. 7. Community rebuilding. Many historic buildings in New Braunfels were undergoing repairs or replacement. Rivers and springs in 1872, descriptions and use. Comal River. The Comal River, one of the shortest rivers in the United States, was already famous for its clarity, constant flow, and cool temperature, being entirely spring-fed by Comal Springs, a system of artesian. Contemporary German Texan descriptions. Esp. Lindheimer and the Neue Braunpfälzer Zeitung emphasized recreational use. Swimming, bathing, and boating were regular pastimes for locals, especially in warmer months. Children and families swam in the Comal, with its crystal clarity and refreshing coolness cited often. Liederkranz events, German singing festivals, were often held in riverside meadows or groves, with some events ending in group river swims. Riverbanks served as picnic grounds, with descriptions of willow, sycamore, and pecan groves providing shade. Vegetation reports noted dense gallery forests of bald cypress, sycamore, and pecan lining both the Comal and Guadalupe rivers. Ash juniper, often called cedar, dominated upland hills but was less common in the well-watered river bottoms. Ferns, watercress, and mosses were common around spring outlets, indicating year-round moisture and shade. Lindheimer and others documented rare aquatic plants, many new to European science, in the Comal and San Marcos river systems. Groundwater and spring accounts. In German settler letters and newspapers from the period 1850s-1870s, the Comal Springs were described as ever-flowing, pure, and life-giving. Lindheimer called them the veins of this country's body, emphasizing the dependence on spring-fed water. Springs were used for household water, mills, tanneries, and ice-cold beer brewing, taking advantage of the 60-72 degrees Fahrenheit constant temperature. Water tables were considered shallow near the springs and reliable, especially before any meaningful groundwater pumping occurred, which didn't begin in earnest until the 20th century. Wells dug 10 to 20 feet often reached cool groundwater. Artesian pressure was noted in some springs. A few small fountains or upward-flowing holes were described. Specific quotes and accounts: Ferdinand Lindheimer, c. 1870 to 1872, from his published letters and articles. The Comal, fed by countless eye-like openings from limestone caverns beneath, never falters in its flow. Even in the worst drought, the water comes clean and cool, fit for washing, brewing, and swimming alike. The riverbanks teem with verdure paradise of cypress and vine, frogs and dragonflies in a ceaseless symphony. The German finds in the Comal what he left behind in the old country: trout-like streams, shaded banks, and the joy of Sunday by the water.
In 1872, Comal County, Texas, had a population of approximately 4,000 to 5,000 people, predominantly German immigrants and their descendants. This medium-sized, stable community thrived amidst the Civil War and Reconstruction, with less devastation than many Texas regions due to its predominantly Unionist leanings and a strong sense of local cohesion. The Guadalupe River, Comal River, and spring-fed systems in the area were well known for recreational activities, such as swimming, bathing, and boating. Locals also relished children swimming in the clear, refreshing water of the Comal River. German Texans writing about Comal Springs highlight the many recreational activities available, such as swimming, bathing, and boating, along with children's bonding in the riverbank settings. Rivers and springs played an essential role in the region's vegetation, with dense gallery forests of bald cypress, sycamore, and pecan lining both the Comal and Guadalupe rivers. Ash juniper, also known as cedar, dominated upland areas but was less common in the river bottoms. Ferns, watercress, and mosses were frequent around spring outlets, suggesting year-round moisture and shade. Lindheimer and other accounts documented rare aquatic plants, many new to European science, found in the Comal, and local settlers relied on the Comal Springs for their household water, mills, tanners, and cold beer brewing. In some cases, they even found cool groundwater from wells dug as shallow as 10 to 20 feet. Moreover, they noted the advantages of the existing pressure in certain springs, while some places even hosted small fountains or upward-flowing holes. In 1972, Comal County population is approximately 5,000, possible up to 10,000. In 1872, Comal County, Texas, was navigating the aftermath of the Civil War and Reconstruction, transitioning back to civilian governance and economic stability. Below is a focused summary of events and conditions in the region that year, based on available historical trends and documented developments. Context of Comal County in 18,721. Post-Reconstruction reintegration 1870 to mark the end of federal military occupation in Texas. While the state was formally readmitted to the Union in 1870, the effects of Reconstruction were still felt in local politics. In Comal County, heavily German in population and with strong anti-slavery Unionist leanings, this meant continued local tension with Anglo-Texan Confederate sympathizers. However, compared to other counties, Comal was more stable. 2. Return of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party regained control of Texas politics in 1872, pushing back radical Republican policies. This shift affected judicial appointments and local governance in counties like Comal. Many Germans in Comal had supported Republicans due to their anti-slavery views, so the return of Democratic dominance led to some political realignment or disaffection in the local German-American immunity.